What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are checking out the latest phone from BLU called the G90 Pro. Now BLU calls this device a gaming phone, but personally I wouldn't go as far as calling this a gaming phone. However, I would call this BLU's flagship device for 2020 because this is definitely the most powerful phone that BLU has ever made. So inside this device we have the MediaTek Helio G90T. And this processor is actually faster than the Snapdragon 730. The Snapdragon 730 is the processor that we have inside the Pixel 4a. And if you check out the score on the Antutu benchmark, you get a fairly high score. And you already know when you get a score that high that the device will perform good for pretty much everything. So I wouldn't call this a gaming phone, but yes, you can play any games you want on it and all games are gonna perform really good on it. For its price, the phone doesn't look bad at all. So on the front we have a 6.5 inches screen. This is an IPS panel that has a 1080p resolution. We get really good viewing angles, some super vibrant colors, but I wish the screen would have got just a bit brighter because if you take the phone outside on a super sunny day, it is a bit difficult to see. But overall, yes, we do have a beautiful looking screen. On the back we also have glass and we also have a bunch of cameras on the back and a fingerprint scanner. Personally, I prefer physical fingerprint scanners over the in-screen fingerprint scanners just because they work so much better. And this is also the case with this fingerprint scanner. All you have to do is touch the fingerprint scanner and the phone will unlock. And it takes like half a second for that to happen. These are also some of the best cameras that BLU has ever used on any of their devices. And I'm happy to see that because it's a step forward. So we have the main lens, we have an ultra-wide lens, and we also have a macro lens in there. And of course, all the pictures that you are seeing on the screen right now were taken by this device on auto mode. Now, the pictures are a bit more on the saturated side, and it kind of reminds me of the pictures that you take with a Samsung phone. But overall, for the price of the device, I feel that the pictures that you're gonna take with it do look really good. The phone can also record in 4K, which is something, again, that we don't really see for a lot of budget devices. And the 4K recordings look decent, but I don't believe that they have image stabilization for 4K recordings. So hopefully the next model that we get from BLU, or even this one through a software update, will have image stabilization for 4K recordings. And this is a quick example of a 4K recording that I've done with this device about a week ago, I would say. So let's check that out and I'll be right back. Alright, this is a quick video test with this new BLU phone that I'm trying out. So the maximum recording resolution of this device is 4K, but I couldn't find any settings for image stabilization. So I'm not sure if this actually has any image stabilization when you're recording in 4K. From what I'm seeing on the screen, you don't. So yeah, this is how a recording would look like in 4K at 30 frames per second with this new BLU phone that I'm testing out. Alright, and going back to our phone, the phone's frame is made out of metal. On one side we have the SIM card slot, and this device can take two SIM cards and an SD card at the same time, so all three together, and the maximum capacity for that SD card is 128 gigs. The phone's internal storage is also 128 gigs, and we also have 4 gigs of RAM, but personally I would have preferred to have somewhere between 6 or 8 gigs of RAM. I feel that that would be more appropriate, because if you have a bunch of apps running in the background, some of them will have to be reopened. For gaming, for example, you can play any games with 4 gigs of RAM. The phone will do great, but if you keep 2 games running in the background, one of them will probably have to be closed. So that is the only downside to having 4 gigs of RAM. 6 gigs would have been ideal in my opinion. Alright, at the bottom here we also have a 3.5mm audio jack, we have the USB-C port, the charging port of course, and the holes for the speaker. Now this phone only has one speaker, so one at the bottom here. With a lot of phones these days we see one at the top and one at the bottom, but with this one we only have one speaker. And that's another reason why I said that this isn't exactly a gaming phone, because a gaming phone would definitely have dual speakers, would have one at the bottom and one at the top. Now, the speaker at the bottom here does get pretty loud, and this is a quick example so you can see how the speaker sounds. The phone also supports fast charging, so charging this from 0 to 100 takes about 2 hours, and wireless charging. That's definitely a nice feature to have. Now, something very strange that the phone doesn't have is NFC, so you're not going to be able to make payments with the phone. I'm not sure why they decided to include wireless charging but not NFC. but that's what we get. Alright, inside this we have a 5100 mAh battery, and depending how you use the phone, you will be getting between 7 to 10 hours of screen on time. I mean, if you're gonna play a bunch of games, you're probably gonna get somewhere between 7 hours of screen on time, but if you don't play games, you're just watching some videos, I don't know, browsing your Facebook feed, you're probably gonna get close to 10 hours of screen on time. So really good battery life from this device. Well, that has a lot to do with that 5100 mAh battery that we have inside it. The phone also runs Android 10 right out of the box, and on top of that Android 10 we have a super light skin, so the phone feels super speedy no matter what you do with it. It doesn't matter if you're on Facebook, it doesn't matter if you're on Chrome, or if you play games, the phone does feel very quick no matter what you do with it. And you wouldn't say that this is a budget phone, but yes, this is a budget phone that has a very powerful CPU. So performance-wise, yes, this phone works great no matter what you do with it, and yes, you can play any games available in the Google Play Store, and some games that aren't, like Fortnite. So yes, no matter what game you play on it, it does work really good. Now, there is a case that comes in the box. The case is specifically designed for a gaming phone because you can hold the phone better whenever you have the case on it. We also have some holes so the phone doesn't overheat whenever in the case. So definitely a nice addition, and probably one of the better cases that I've seen included with any BLU devices up until now. The GPS unit inside it works great as well. It only takes a second or two to find your location. Once your location is found, the phone doesn't seem to lose it. And of course, using any apps like Google Maps or Waze works great. For sensors, we have all the sensors that you would find in other more expensive devices. As for bands, we definitely have a bunch of bands available, and once again, more bands than other cheaper devices that I've seen in the past. So you should be able to use this pretty much anywhere in North America. So for the price, the BLU G90 Pro is definitely a pretty good device, and I would say that this is one of the best phones that BLU has ever made so far. And I'm looking forward to the next year's BLU devices that will probably be even better than this one. But if you want a good phone, a phone that you can game on, a phone that has a beautiful screen, has decent cameras, great battery life, you should definitely consider the BLU G90 Pro. Alright guys, thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.